Now let's talk about Almas here. Andrade Cien Almas, although he did appear in that main event on Tuesday, is reportedly not happy with his position in the company. This is per a report from Super Luchas, who has broken news about luchadors before. Now this follows comments that Dave Meltzer made on his podcast a few weeks ago, where he was talking about Rush. Rush, of course, big time CMLL name. Just started working in MLW. MLW, in fact, is building their WrestleMania weekend show around a big match between Rush and LA Park. And Meltzer made the comment that WWE would love to sign him. They would love to sign Rush, but one of his best friends is in WWE and is very unhappy right now, and probably told Rush that. Super Luchas outed that name as Cien Almas, as the one who is unhappy. This is not the first time that reports have leaked about Andrade being unhappy. The first one goes back to his days in NXT before they finally figured out, what to do with him, and they put Zelina Vega with him, and as a heel, he just took off and did very well and became the NXT champion and really turned his career around when it looked like he was going nowhere fast. There was a period of time where he was very unhappy and thought about leaving NXT. He even gave an interview to a Mexican newspaper a while back and admitted that. He said that he wanted to leave and go back to Mexico. And it was Alberto Del Rio who talked him out of doing it and convinced him to stay and give it a chance. And obviously, at least for a while at least, it worked out well for him and it was the right decision. Gran Metalik is another luchador said to be unhappy with his position in WWE. He put a poll up on his Twitter page recently asking if he should go to CMLL or if he should hit the independent scene. And then he obviously thought better of it and took it down shortly thereafter. That's according to Lucha Blog, who saw the tweet. These are guys who, in both cases are supremely talented. And even Gran Metalik, when he first came in, there was a lot of fanfare and a lot of things said about him, about how great he was. And, they added him to 205 Live. And for the longest time, they did nothing with him. And I want to say he had some kind of a visa issue. And that might have been part of why they didn't do anything with him for a while. But even when that was resolved, if that was what happened, look, when you're stuck on that 205 Live roster, it might be a good place to be for some guys, but he certainly didn't come off as being that big of a deal, even though he's a very talented, wrestler. And so you got these guys who are supremely talented and can make a good living going back to Mexico. They can make a good living working the indies. They could work, make a good living working for companies and promotions like MLW or going to Japan, or they've got options. Their names would command top dollar. Cien Almas, if he hit the independent scene, you don't think his name wouldn't command top dollar? He had a big name before he signed with WWE, and he'll have as big of a name, if not bigger, if he leaves WWE. He would do very well for himself. I'd hate to see it. I would hate to see him walk out. I think he could be a very valuable piece of that Smackdown roster. And, any kind of shakeup that this company might be doing in the weeks ahead should include him in those plans. He got called down to the main roster in April, and he has not done much of anything since then. And him being part of the main event this week was a nice start, but that doesn't necessarily, that's not necessarily indicative of him getting some kind of big push. And if he is unhappy, I hope that, they can address that and start using him more often on TV. I think him and Vega together are a great package. Look, Rusev is challenging Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States Championship on SmackDown this Tuesday. And no spoilers, but if he were to win the championship on that show, I like Rusev and all, but I would transition that title off of him if he wins it and get it onto Almas in the next couple of months, maybe even at the Royal Rumble. And then I would start a program heading into WrestleMania for the U.S. title between Almas and Rey Mysterio. That would be the WrestleMania match. It would be Almas against Rey Mysterio.